haunting and fascinating about places left to the forces of nature. If you decide to stay tuned till the end, then I promise you won't be disappointed. These are cities that once thrived, bustling with life, culture, and commerce. But for one reason or another, they've been left behind. Yet, despite their abandonment, many of these mysterious cities remain accessible to visitors, standing as eerie monuments to a lost time. In today's video, we're taking you on a journey to the 13 most mysterious abandoned cities you can actually visit. Buckle up because this is going to be a spine-tingling ride. 1. Pripyat, Ukraine. Pripyat is perhaps the most famous abandoned city in the world. Once a thriving town for workers of the nearby Chernobyl nuclear power plant, it was evacuated in April 1986 after the devastating explosion at reactor number 4. Today, it stands frozen in time. Children's toys scattered in empty classrooms, amusement rides rusting in the desolate amusement park, and Soviet-era posters still hanging on the walls. While radiation levels have dropped enough to allow short visits, the aura of this place feels like a page torn from a post-apocalyptic novel. Guided tours are available, but they're not for the faint of heart. 2. Hashima Island, Japan. Nicknamed Battleship Island for its shape, Hashima was once a bustling coal mining town owned by Mitsubishi. In the 1950s, it was one of the most densely populated places on Earth. But after coal demand plummeted, the island was abandoned almost overnight in 1974. Now, its concrete high-rises and industrial complexes are crumbling, giving it a hauntingly dystopian appearance. You may recognize Hashima from the James Bond movie Skyfall, but if you visit today, it's more than a set piece. It's a stark reminder of how fast the tide can turn. 3. Centralia, Pennsylvania, USA. Imagine an entire town sitting on top of a smoldering underground fire. That's Centralia, a place with a population that dropped from 1,000 to fewer than 10 in just a few decades. In 1962, a coal seam fire ignited beneath the town and continues to burn to this day. Toxic smoke and dangerous sinkholes forced residents to flee, leaving behind abandoned homes, crumbling streets, and even a graffiti-covered highway known as Graffiti Highway. While much of Centralia is off-limits, it's still possible to visit some parts, but be warned, the ground beneath your feet is still burning. Kolmanskop, Namibia. Kolmanskop is a ghost town swallowed by the sands of the Namib Desert. Founded in the early 1900s during the Diamond Rush, it quickly grew into a small but luxurious city. It had a hospital, a ballroom, and even the first X-ray machine in the Southern Hemisphere. However, when diamond resources depleted, Kolmanskop was abandoned in the 1950s. Now, the desert has reclaimed it. Sand dunes have drifted into homes and buildings, creating surreal, haunting interiors that look like something straight out of a dream. This is one abandoned city where you'll want to bring a camera, because the photo opportunities are endless. Pyramiden, Svalbard, Norway. Located on the remote archipelago of Svalbard, Pyramiden was a Soviet mining town that was abandoned in 1998. The Eerie part? It's so far north that the frigid Arctic climate has preserved much of the town as if it were stuck in a time capsule. You'll find statues of Lenin, Soviet murals, and decaying buildings all frozen in time. The isolation, combined with the cold and the empty streets, makes Pyramiden one of the most surreal abandoned places on Earth. Despite its remote location, guided tours are available if you're brave enough to venture that far into the Arctic. Bodie, California, USA. Bodie is the quintessential Wild West ghost town. During the California gold rush in the late 1800s, it boomed with over 10,000 residents. But by the early 20th century, the gold dried up, and so did Bodie's population. Today, it's preserved in a state of arrested decay, meaning you'll find buildings left as they were when the last residents walked out. Fully stocked shops, houses with furniture, and a saloon with a long-abandoned bar. Bodie is a glimpse into America's past, and it's one of the most accessible ghost towns in the United States. Perfect for a day trip if you're in California. Krakow, Italy. Perched on a hilltop in southern Italy, Krakow is a medieval town that has been abandoned since the 1960s due to landslides and earthquakes. Its stone buildings, narrow alleys, and castle towers still stand, giving the town a haunting, cinematic feel. It's been used as a filming location for movies like The Passion of the Christ and Quantum of Solace. Visiting Krakow feels like stepping into a time warp. It's as if the residents simply vanished, leaving the town suspended in silence. Walking through its deserted streets, you can almost hear the echoes of a long-lost time. Varosha, Cyprus. Once a glamorous beach resort in the city of Famagusta, Varosha was the place to be for celebrities and tourists alike in the 1970s. But after the Turkish invasion of Cyprus in 1974, Varosha was abandoned and has remained off-limits ever since, with barbed wire and Turkish troops guarding its perimeter. Recently, parts of Varosha have reopened to the public, allowing visitors to see the eerily empty hotels, shopping centers, and golden beaches that have been untouched for decades. Walking through Varosha feels like walking into a parallel universe, where time stopped and nature started reclaiming what was once a bustling city. Oradour-sur-Glane, France. Oradour-sur-Glane is not just an abandoned village, it's a memorial. In June 1944, during World War II, Nazi soldiers massacred 642 of its residents and left the village in ruins. Rather than rebuild, the French government left the village as it was to serve as a reminder of the horrors of war. Today, the burned-out cars, crumbling houses, and bullet-riddled walls stand as a solemn testament to the tragic events of that day. Visiting Oradour-sur-Glane is an emotional experience, a place of reflection, and a stark reminder of the past that should never be forgotten. Kayaköy is an abandoned village in southwestern Turkey, once home to Greek Christians. After the population exchange between Greece and Turkey in the 1920s, the village was left deserted. Now, hundreds of stone houses, a school, and 2 churches stand in ruins, nestled among the hills. While the village itself is silent, the surrounding area is vibrant, and Kayaköy is a popular spot for hikers and history enthusiasts. Its crumbling walls and abandoned homes are a poignant reminder of the upheaval caused by political and ethnic conflicts, a theme that resonates with many places on this list. Gunkanjima, Japan. Another one from Japan, Gunkanjima, or Battleship Island, was once a coal mining hub. At its peak, it was one of the most densely populated areas on Earth. However, when the coal ran out in the 1970s, the island was abandoned, and nature has been reclaiming it ever since. Today, Gunkanjima looks like a post-apocalyptic wasteland with its crumbling buildings, decaying staircases, and eerie atmosphere. Tours are available, but only a small portion of the island is open to visitors due to safety concerns. Still, it's one of the most unique and haunting places you can visit. Humberstone and Santa Laura, Chile. These 2 towns in the Atacama Desert of northern Chile were once thriving saltpeter mining communities in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. But when synthetic fertilizers replaced saltpeter, the towns were abandoned, leaving behind vast expanses of decaying industrial buildings, worker homes, and a desolate landscape that looks more like Mars than Earth. Declared UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Humberstone and Santa Laura offer a stark glimpse into the harsh realities of desert mining life. You can visit these towns today and explore the remnants of a forgotten era. Belchite, Spain. Belchite is a town frozen in the horrors of war. It was the site of a brutal battle during the Spanish Civil War in 1937, and rather than rebuild, the town was left as a memorial to those who perished. Its bombed-out churches, bullet-riddled walls, and crumbling homes tell the story of one of Spain's darkest chapters. Walking through Belchite is a chilling experience. The silence is deafening, and the ruins feel haunted by the memories of the past. Guided tours take visitors through this historic ghost town, offering a haunting look at the devastation of war. These abandoned cities are more than just tourist destinations. They're windows into history, frozen in time for us to explore. Each one tells a story, some tragic, some mysterious, but all equally fascinating. So which of these eerie destinations would you dare to visit? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more explorations of the world's most fascinating places.